Lesson 8.NS.1. This is about rational and irrational numbers. We will also focus within rational numbers about converting between fractions and decimals. These video notes will not cover every single problem on these pages, but we will do some problems from each page. Rational numbers on problem number 1 can be written as a fraction. It uses the word ratio, which we think of as fraction. Some numbers that can be written as a fraction include, of course, fractions, repeating decimals, terminating decimals, and integers. Irrational numbers cannot be written as a fraction. One type is a non-terminating and non-repeating decimal. Let's look at number 3 together. Select all numbers that are rational. We'll go back to that list. Number 3 is an integer, so it's rational. 3.75 repeating is a repeating decimal, so it's rational. Skipping over to the 4th choice, it is a fraction, so it is rational. Looking at the other 2 choices, square root of 2, we probably remember previously, is going to come out to a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal. So when I type it in, negative, and then square root of 2 in my calculator, I get this number, negative 1.41421, ... It keeps going, non-terminating, non-repeating. And when we use pi is an irrational number. So pi divided by 2 comes out to 1.57079 ... It is non-terminating, non-repeating. Number 6, select all the equations that correctly relate a decimal to a fraction or mixed number. So we're just trying to figure out, is it true? So the first one, we have a decimal, 2.5, and then 25 divided by 10 in our calculator is 2.5, so that's true. The next one, we have the decimal 6.8, then 6 and 8/5 when we go to our calculator comes out to 7.6. Well, that's not true. Now we have 4.1 repeating, and then 37/9 when we go to our calculator is 4.11111, so it's 4.1 repeating, so that is true. Square root of 5 is 2.23 ... It keeps on going, and we know that 2 and 2/5 it's a fraction, so it is not going to be the same, so those are not equal. And then last, 1.25 repeating is not the same as 5/4, which is 1.25 terminating, so that is not true. Number 8 asks to select all the numbers that are irrational. So we know that means that these are non-terminating, non-repeating decimals. So we're going to type each of these into our calculator to see what we get. For square root of 2, we get 1.414 ... It keeps on going. It is irrational. For 10 divided by the square root of 100, we get 1. For square root of 7, we get 2.6457 ... It is irrational. It keeps on going. Doesn't end, doesn't repeat. 5.87 repeating is a repeating decimal, so it's rational. And then square root of 8 divided by the square root of 2 comes out to 2. So that is rational. The next standard 8.NS.2 is about comparing and ordering numbers, and then also about it also includes square root. So comparing and ordering numbers could be finding what 2 integers a decimal value falls between or a square root value falls between. It could also include being given a list of numbers and putting them in order from least to greatest. So when we plug in, we're looking at number 2. It says place a point where you think negative square root of 5 would go on the number line. And when you plug this into your calculator, you get negative 2.23 3 dot dot dot. So a little less than -2. So this is going to be between -3 and -2 because it's -2 point something. If we ignored the negative, it'd be like 2 point something. That's between 2 and 3. Since we're dealing with negatives, it's between -3 and -2. Closer to -2 than -3, so somewhere about here. Number 4, in which list are the numbers in order from least to greatest? We have the same 4 numbers in different orders in your answer choices, so I would find the decimal value of every number. So find decimals, and then we'll figure out our order. So now I'm going to look at my decimals and say, okay, comparing in the ones place, they're all the same. So I move on. Comparing in the tenths place, they're all different, and I start looking at these to see which one's the smallest, the least, and out of these, the 1 is the least, and then 3 here is the second smallest, then 5 is the smallest that remains, and then 6 is the largest of them all, and we just place them in that order. So pi, then square root of 11, then 3.5, and last 11/3. Answer choice C. Last, we're going to look at problem number 12, and it says, between which two integers does negative square root of 46 appear on the number line? Well, we type it into a decimal value in our calculator, and our decimal in the calculator is -6.78 dot dot dot. Keeps on going. So it's -6 point something. So 6 point something would be between 6 and 7. So -6 point something is between -7 and -6. And we're finished.